Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You are most welcome, Sharon.
I'm totally fangirling. I've been following your career for a long time, especially when your products, your brands came out of Ruby Millie as well. So that was really exciting, that sort of time. Like diversity was sort of coming in, but then when your brand came in of Ruby Millie, that sort of shot suddenly in boots. I was walking like in the high street and you were there.
It's very, very funny about all of that, because it's like you said, diversity was coming in, and that is 20 years on now.
Well, that was sort of a trend.
How far
word.
has it come?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? Because I think the word diversity meant something, but then it, like a lot of things at the moment, it's sort of just a trend. It's a buzzword, that people have to tick, and it doesn't feel as authentic as it should be.
But it's like everything in life, there's a movement, there's a trend, there's a fad, and then something has to start somewhere, and then it gathers momentum. But the shame of it is, it can't just be a buzzword.
No,
it can't just be a tick box exercise. It's got to actually have some substance.
It's a meaning. It's a meaning depth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's got to go wide and deep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think we have that yet. But that doesn't mean you stop trying momentum and trying, and you stop calling it a buzzword. All right, at least it's a buzzword that people recognise. Like I'm more into the buzzword of being inclusive than the word diversity. Because I think diversity, again, separates. It puts blocks and things, whereas if inclusive, it means as a human being or as a member of this planet in whichever shape or form, you got to address, we're all part of it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Include every bit of it. It's not just about being black. It's not just about being Asian. It's not just about being a woman. It's not just about being a white man. It's all kinds of things that we should be looking to include all the different aspects of what humanity holds.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it means.
I agree with you. A lot of the gripes I used to have, especially when you fill out a diversity form, is that actually you're actually excluding a group, and it's predominantly white, isn't it? I mean, that's the shame of it. You're predominantly, if they want people, and it's still on the forms, aren't they? If you're from an underrepresented group, well, we're kind of there with the representation. I think we could still be doing more.
It's funny that is, because it's a very complex thing. Because look, Sharon, if you go, I'll give you a good example. You go to your GPs if you finally are able to get an appointment, or you're filling up some national health form or something. Actually, if I was white, I'd think, are they catered for me? Because on there it says Bangladeshi, ethnic, Pakistani, Indian, Gujarati, Arab, ethnic, this one, that one. If I was a white person, and you have to fight for them as well.
Yeah,
you can't just fight for ourselves. Where's them?
Absolutely.
Hello, don't just always selfishly think of yours. I know we have to fight harder for the bit that you're trying to acquire the rights for, but can you imagine what they feel like when they see a form like 5, 8 ethnicities down that doesn't cater for them?
It's doing the reverse, isn't it?
You see?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. What do you think the answer is?
I bet if you went to a police station, you should know this better than me. When they say you're Caucasian, this one, Asian, black one, this one, can you imagine how those forms are? Is that inclusive? Or is that, you have to, it is for identifying purposes. Same way as in the national health, it was for finding out, because it gives them a little clue. Like if you are South Asian, maybe you might be more predisposed to having that bit of diabetic or a bit of this or a bit of. So I understand why it was put in there. But also, can you see, if you were a regular white person going in there?
I agree that...
is there something wrong with being Caucasian white?
No, I agree with you, and this is like kind of part of my kind of platform, and this is what I talk about as well, because we've talked about accent, haven't we? We've talked about... because I felt the other way in the sense of my own community. I was brought up in a predominantly very white area, and Southeast London, so you can probably hear from my accent and the way I talk. I am, I am from there. I used to get lots of comments from my own community, and publicly humiliated people, like mocking how I spoke, because it was what people would say, you're too British to be Asian, too British to be Asian, and that's how this podcast all came. So when I speak to people I'm going to interview, and I say, oh, my podcast, and they always say, what's it called? And I say too British to be Asian, and you know what? They just get it.
Yes.
And tell me,
I get it.
Tell me what
it
you
too.
get from that title, too British to be Asian.
I look at it as two ways. So, and I don't look at it as a negative or a positive. I'm just saying, this is what comes to my head, is that, does that mean I've assimilated well enough into this adoptive nation of mine? Because you're either born here or you are not.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I wasn't born in the UK. I was born in Africa, in Nigeria.
Yes.
And I came here when I was 12 years old. So you're quite, it's not like I went to nursery school or anything like that.
No, I mean, 12's quite an age, isn't it?
Right, 12 is an age. It's the beginning of your formative,
Yes.
like intellect, going to big school,
Yeah.
all of that. So if somebody says that to me, I take that as a compliment, because it means I've adapted to my adoptive country really well. But then it could be seen, it could be perceived from I'm an Asian, I'm from Bangladeshi background, so it could be perceived, oh, she's too British, to forget this. But I'm not that. I speak Bengali. I unfortunately can't read or write, because it was of that age when I came to this country. Was I going to go and start going with the kindergarten?
Oh, you had to adopt a new culture.
Exactly.
I mean, you had to learn a new language.
We lived in Africa, Nigeria, so I never had to learn my language. We spoke language at home. I'm fluent in my language. I've learned Hindi from watching Bollywood films in Africa and open air theatre every night we went to it, because we had no telly. And, there'd be the occasional Abbott and Costello, Charlie Chaplin, spaghetti westerns, all that. But every night was some Bollywood movie.
It's amazing.
I have listened to it for that long that I love the music, I know the language, I speak my own mother tongue, that's different to Hindi. I catch the old bits of Gujarati or bits of Punjabi, but I don't really understand those. But so that's, in asking what you just asked, it could be that some people think, oh, she sounds so British.
She sounds white. She's trying to be white.
I'm not trying to be white.
Yeah.
I sound white because I'm educated here.
Yeah.
I pick up, every kid picks up.
Yeah.
They pick up and they copy, they emulate their environment. So one night you're going to beat me on the head. So what should I do? Should I talk like I'm a Bengali fisherwoman's wife in Chittagong?
Yeah, when you've been here for
when
like
you've been
all
here
these
your whole
years,
life.
yeah.
I've lived there. I've always gone and visited my grandparents, my extended family. Now, my grandparents have passed away. We were the younger ones of my cousins and that, slowly they're topping away. My nieces and nephews and things that are, whether they're there or abroad, they keep in touch with me same way as they used to keep in touch with my mum, was their favourite aunt. My mum passed away 12 years ago, so it's really funny. I've got that mantle again where they look at me because I'm open. They can tell me about a boyfriend or a girlfriend that they wouldn't tell their parents about.
The fun aunt.
Right? But then there are wise notes of what I give them, because I am inherently, I'm Asian.
Yeah.
What are you trying to make me? Like I'm not fitting in yours. You want me to have 2 feet in 2 different camps?
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
No.
That's very unpleasant, to force somebody to have to pick. All it is you're trying to be on this planet is yourself.
That's right.
And be the best person that you can be.
Absolutely.
So why, as if life isn't complicated
Absolutely,
enough
right?
to then put this additional burden of I've got, who knows who they are from the minute they're born to the minute they're passed away. Which facade do you want me to present?
Yeah.
And is that the only facade that's ever possible? No.
No, and this is it. And I think this was, I talk about this a lot, because growing up like that as well, you're growing up with 2 cultures. And for you as well, very different, because you had an African culture as well that you had to adopt.
African culture, Asian culture, and now British culture.
That is a lot.
Right?
That is a lot.
And it's not like you're so super skilled at the age of 12 to navigate all of that. But it was a shock. It was a culture
As a
shock.
child, though, that must have really psychologically impacted you.
No, it impacted us in a way I had all my friends that I grew up with, and they're in Africa, and next minute I'm here. Whereas I spoke the language though. There's no language barrier because some people have that. I didn't have the language barrier because we spoke English from my mum taught us before we went to school in Nigeria.
But this is what I mean. So from going from one culture to being Asian to being
and it
in
was more the
Africa.
shock. It's not about the Asian culture. It's my African culture. The weather, the running around. It's not about Bangladesh. I never went to school in Bangladesh. No, or East Pakistan as it was when. I went on holiday to Bangladesh. East Pakistan.
Because your father had a contract in Africa.
Yes,
quite a long
he
time.
went out in 1961.
Yeah.
And my mum was 7 months pregnant with me. Only meant to stay for a year, but ended up falling in love in that country. He was very ambitious. He was very successful. We ended up staying 12 years. I was born. My 2 brothers born after me. And then eventually we were on holiday here in the UK to go back to then East Pakistan.
Right, yeah.
I probably would have gone to boarding school in Darjeeling in India or so. And we never got the chance because civil war had started between East Pakistan, West Pakistan, and never did go back. And so that was 15 years ago.
That's what I mean. So it must have been. There must have been a huge, it might not have just jumped out at you, but as you started living here, the process of the things that
it's a big process, but but it's a big process. But where does it also start? It starts from your parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my parents are not your typical Asian. They're pioneers that they left the country to go somewhere already.
Yeah.
Okay? Then they have adapted to this country where he's not going to take us to a war zone, my father, and all that. But also they were very broad-minded and very far-thinking, where I realise now that, there were a lot of Asians in my school, because I went to school in Putney. So there were a lot of Asians, Gujarati, Punjabi, other family, all down South London. And they'd be like, they saw me, I wore Western clothes. What was I going to do? Wear a sari to school. I didn't have a uniform, so I dressed myself, and I was always interested in fashion. So I would, I was that kind of, and my family, I was good at school. So what are they going to tell me? That putting a wrap around your head makes you better academically? That is how you're raised. My parents raised me like that. And I could go wearing a skirt because it meant I was still a decent girl. I'm educated, I'm bright. My parents were not, I call them almost bigoted. You're like left side, you live in this country. You don't adapt.
Yeah.
If you don't like it in this country, why are you here?
Exactly. Yeah,
are you here just to make the money? Are you here to what? You're not going to, and then you're going to not live and abide by the rules and culture and the laws of what. Go back home then, wherever you consider home, wherever you consider I'm really happy. Some people, it shocked me where they have been here for many years and they don't speak their language. I think that's appalling.
Yeah.
It's appalling.
Yeah.
And it's usually the women of the house, from Bangladesh. Yes, I see that. They go, that the kid has to come and explain and all that. And I'm like, well, your mum doesn't speak English. My mum spoke English with a slight accent.
Yeah.
She had an accent.
A twang.
But my mum spoke English. She could read and write it. Could have taught us English.
But it also questions me how much they were at home. How much, I
feel like, so this is not right then. If you are not comfortable here, what are you doing here?
I know the aspect of that because, I from my kind of family and knowing other people's family, it's communities that came over that couldn't speak the language.
Communities came over. My lot was just my parents with no community here. We didn't have no family, no friends here. Nobody. We were on holiday.
Did your parents ever talk about how that impacted them, like how difficult it was? Did people
they never
welcome them?
did because they got on with it. Because my father was a doctor. He's educated. He has colleagues there that are not just Asians. They're British. He gets on. My mum could speak the language, so she could go out. She made Indian or Asian dishes, Bengali this, and shared with her neighbours, with her this, with her that. She made an impact. If they didn't know what that was, she'd say, oh, yeah, this is what I... If you don't speak the language and you don't step out the house, that's not the adoptive country's fault, is it? That's yours. Why don't you go and take a lesson? Why don't you learn how to speak? Or in this country, do you think your kids are just going to tow in and translate for you? And your husband is going to do the shopping for you? And you're not going to... This is as a woman. Or everybody, if you don't make that effort, I'm sorry, you won't... Yes, it isn't that we didn't face fetishists. We did. It's the time of the National Front
Yeah.
in the
So what?
70s
So what?
and 80s
What
and
kind
whatever.
of discrimination, prejudice did you experience?
Outwardly like that, but you'd get it. You know, we were in the Arndale Centre in Wandsworth, and there would be shout out, "Oh, your package, you better go home," and you'd see groups of National Front boys or do this or do that. So it's not like it wasn't frightening, or what you'd see on telly with Enoch Power and blah, blah, blah. But it didn't stop us living our life, did it? Or even
Doesn't it show you how resilient, like, years ago people were? Like, because nowadays that wouldn't happen, but if it did happen, a complete outrage riot.
No, they were
like, how much harder?
silently resilient. But that's not just then. Before that, in the 50s, or whenever my father came to study he got educated in then East Pakistan, took his exams, and then it was British India or whatever. But when he came for his further education to improve his medical experience and qualifications, he came here, and there were in that time there was also appalling racism where they'd heard his voice on the phone to get a room or whatever, and then they were fine, there's a vacancy. As he walked up the pathway, they put the sign up, "Oh yeah, vacancy gone," and it's because they've seen, "Oh, he's a doctor."
Is this
It's
a
quite
hotel
that.
or is this?
No, like wherever you're going to stay. You know.
Oh, in the
You know,
in the accommodation.
Rented
Yeah.
accommodation.
Yeah.
You know, he was
Okay.
here for quite a few months, quite a few years. It's not like they didn't face it. They faced it, but that wasn't at the forefront of everything.
No.
They made it that people would look at them as who they are. If your parents and they're part of a community and then they just reinforce all of that rubbish, that's how they're going to make it harder for themselves, their community, their children, and going on forward.
Well, children become quite resentful as well, I think.
We never had to hide what music we liked, who our friends were, how I went out to a disco and a club, because what it was important to my dad is that you're not going out to a disco and not doing your homework.
Right.
He doesn't really care. Have you done your homework?
Yeah.
And I'm getting good marks at school, and I'm dancing away at the same time, and I'm putting on makeup, and I'm experimenting. I just said to you, he always thought you could be anything you wanted. So it didn't affect my academicness or my politeness, my attendance.
But look who you became and what you became, and also your brothers as well, because you said like one's a tennis instructor
At the moment, not now.
Oh, okay.
Not now. He's since he's retired, he's that. But what I'm saying
But
is,
you're all very
we all grew
successful.
up. We all grew. No, some success. What is success? I've got a younger brother who was like the black sheep of the family, but he was the brightest one of all of us. So it's not that. What I'm just saying is, it is we as parents, and I'm a parent, and you know, she's mixed race. My ex-husband was Polish blood, but grew up in the north of England, and I'm full Bangladeshi. So she's half Polish, not English by birth, not British by birth, by nationality, because her father is Polish. His parents came over just after the war.
But still another culture she has to adopt.
Exactly,
right?
but
you know.
it's in her DNA. That my grandson now, he's English, he's Bangladeshi from my side, he is Greek Cypriot from his grandfather's side,
my
son-in-law's side, and so he's got those four, and he's got Polish because Rena has, and my ex-husband has. They got some Polish blood in them, haven't they?
That's a lot,
So
in
you
it.
see? So in the end, it's not about picking one culture or ignoring the other. Just because you adapt and you fit in doesn't mean you ignore.
No.
Which is sometimes they have that small-mindedness where I'm
No,
like,
I don't think it's about ignoring, but I also think it's about just, culture is what you choose as well.
yeah, but that doesn't mean you can hide who your background is.
No.
Why do they not have the confidence? My parents always thought it's up to us to give you the best upbringing to be decent human beings.
Yeah.
And no, you are Asian.
Yeah.
You were born a Muslim. But I have a Guruji in India. My mum has always had one too. My father prays 5 times a day. I do not pray 5 times a day. I don't keep all of my Ramadan, but that doesn't mean I don't pay my kafirah. I don't know if you know it. I do that. I do what I can, but I'm not showing my faith to show somebody,
To please others.
to please anybody. this is between me and my God up there,
Yeah,
you know, and
that's
how he
right.
punishes me or how he rewards me is up to when I leave this earth, okay?
Yeah.
Your faith is so intimate and personal. Do not ever disrespect anyone's faith. And, you know, I go to a church, I still cover my head. And my husband, who was Catholic, said, oh, no, you don't have to do that. You know, and I said, oh, no, but I always do.
Yeah.
If I see Lord Krishna somewhere, I see Guruji, Guru Nanak anyway, I always do pranam.
Yeah.
I always do pranam. I do for Christians, I do to the Jewish faith, I do to my own faith.
You're being true to who you
This
are.
is how
Yeah.
I am.
That's right.
That is how my family, my parents, God rest their souls, both of them, has raised me.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And I can fit in any Western standard, and I can fit in quite a lot of Asian things too. Maybe I don't understand a full Gujarati going on or full Punjabi going on, but I won't shame my parents, and I won't shame myself, and hopefully I won't shame my host.
And tell me a bit more about your parents, you know, they in the sense of, because you have reported that you were really close to your mother.
I was very close to both my parents.
Both of them.
My father, again, look at this, as an Asian man, whatever, you're firstborn, I'm not a boy. And he always considered me that I am his good luck thing, because with me, with my mum pregnant with me, is when he moves to a different country, and then he was ambitious, he worked hard, and he got acknowledgement, and he went up the career path and ladder or whatever. So if there was any time where there was some important thing you had to go to, he'd be like, if I was playing or whatever, he'd go, Ruby, 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 and come, and he'd like to see my face before he walked out the door. Now, some people back at home, when we did go for our holidays, they'd be, oh, she's so thin, she's so black. Oh, doctor will have to spend a lot of money to get that one married off, you know. Don't you feel
It triggers me when you say that. It really
doesn't
triggers
it make
me.
you feel, oh, you know, he's a girl, and he was like, no, I'm like his mascot, I'm like his lucky charm. My mum was always there beside my dad. He didn't ignore my mum, but my mum was always there, and this is what I remember. I thought, oh, was he always give me the importance, ignoring my mum? No, my mum is his wife, his partner, his soulmate, is always there. Ruby sees my face, and my face is the one he sees as he goes out, because I bring him luck. And he was like that with my brothers and me. He's not one for the boys and one for the girls. I saw a lot of that in other British families. So it's the way we were raised and the values that were put on us. So
I mean, that's the beautiful values.
I'm deeply close to my mum, but I'm deeply close to my dad too, because all those years, my father was a sole breadwinner, my mum was a housewife. It's now she's come into her own. She got her first job when she was 40. You know.
Good on her.
And she ran a fabulous restaurant
She didn't sit back.
called the Red Fort in Dean Street. And people used to think it was her restaurant, and it wasn't. You know, she ran it for somebody. And I said, how can I do this job, Mum? She said, hospitality, you can't be taught. I mean, that is in your nature. That is, and she says a restaurant is an extension of your home, how hospitable you are as a person. And that. Two, she said the food, and she was a bit snooty here. She said all of these young men that are working there or whatever, you know what? And my mum came from a very wealthy family. My father didn't. They came from a very educated, intellectual family. So this is her bit of snootiness, but not in a bad way, where she said, these people have never grown up eating these things that they're serving. I have eaten it. I can teach them. They don't know what they're doing.
I think that's where you get your fire from.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So you get from both sides. She wasn't being snooty, but she was saying this is an Indian restaurant. They're trying to do Indian cuisine at the top end. How many of them grew up eating that shit?
Well, exactly.
I did.
Yeah.
Because I
Absolutely.
can show them how to present it better, how to do it better. I grew up like that.
And also, I think your dad has something to do with that as well, because he wasn't one of those, what we talk about, the stereotype where he wanted his wife at home. He, just as he was very committed in encouraging you to be yourself, I think that, you know, you have to also show your children how you treat your wife.
It's the most important thing, and that's nothing to do with the cultural stereotype.
No.
My little grandson is 2 and a bit. It is very important that my little grandson sees how his father treats my daughter.
I agree, 100%.
Because that's what they copy, and he's a boy, he's not a girl. He has to know, and then it's my duty and my daughter's duty and all of us to treat him so that we show him this is how you respect Nani, your mummy, and other women and other friends, because he's going to grow up to be a man, and we got to bloody work hard at this age now to make him.
I agree.
Respect women.
Yeah,
and they're not any lesser than you. They're as equal, but be respectful, be kind, they have different things.
But isn't it crazy when you actually have your own children and your grandson that your upbringing comes massively into it?
It does come into it. As say with my daughter, you know, like I was married and I have been divorced and I'm remarried. So it's very important for me to show my daughter as a woman, not just Asian, as a woman, as a person, that you know what, Rena, what my dad told me, that you need to be educated as much as you can. It's very important so you can stand on your own 2 feet. So you're not scared, all right, I've gone into the creative side of my industry or whatever, but I'm educated enough that, God forbid, if I had to do something, he was thinking you can do it.
Yeah.
You can earn some money respectfully, with dignity. I needed her to understand divorce does happen, and it's heartbreaking. And it was difficult for me, but to see us still come out.
Yeah.
You know, it's two parties need to make each other happy.
Well, it would have impacted your child, of course,
Yes.
in some way. But
Of course it did. It had huge impact
Yeah.
on her. But for her to understand it's not her fault.
Exactly.
That it's her, for however many years we were married, which was about 15 years, we were happy and then we were not. And for whatever reason, he deserves his happiness and so do I.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right? He deserves and I do. And for whatever, I'm not going to go into the ins and outs here of who right, who wronged who. She knows. That's enough for me to know. But as a girl to know, you can stand on your feet, keep some money aside, give everything if you have to, because that's what it means to be in a partnership, to be in a marriage, to be a parent, to be whatever. But not at the expense of your self-respect and dignity in the end of the day. Yeah. Love is not everything. Respect, trust, affection, friendly, you know, all of that comes. If you don't have all of that, you're not going to have a proper relationship.
Well, I think as well, you lose children like that. I think you lose children if you don't keep your values, if you don't keep that, you know, it's that bitterness, that anger. You can have that, but when
I had it. I have been very honest. I had it for a long time. It's not easy to have come out of that, but even with that, because it was not pleasant. Even with that, I did say to Rena that I can't hide my hurt because your father has done this to me, not to you. I can shout it from the rooftops because it was done to me, not to you. So you don't have to listen to that. But it is. When one day she said to me, well, you can say it's your ex-husband. Can I say it's my ex-dad? And he hit me. I thought,
that's my
right.
Yeah,
she's right. And even my father didn't say much. He had Parkinson's as well. Then he wasn't fully, you know, all there. But he never said anything because he goes, it's the father of my grandchild. So he zipped up.
Yeah.
He didn't mean he couldn't see what was going on. But he zipped up. And that dignity, that grace, I got later. I got later because I did slag him off, saying you on to his face because it's like, who the piece of shit that did this?
Yeah.
So I could.
But it's hurt, it's pain, isn't it?
But I never stopped him having relationship with his daughter because it's the only child.
You know what you also didn't do as well, and this is, I say this quite a lot, you didn't stay in that place. You didn't stay in that place.
I had to show her that and she saw me broken. Yeah. In many ways it was like that, but you need to see that. You can't just stay for the kids.
Yeah.
You can't just stay for the financial, I've got a roof over my head and my mum said when you're going through the process of it, because it's not just 1 minute you're going to be together, 1 minute you're divorced. It's not that, it's a process. And it took a couple of years. And they said, whatever you decide, you stay to go back to him.
You work at it, or if you don't,
we're supportive. If you decide to leave, we're supportive. That gave me so much strength because there's a lot of people who did not have that.
Well, also, even now, there's still lots of men and women
attached to
together,
all of
or
that.
partners that
Yeah.
are just afraid to leave and just are afraid to,
Of whatever culture they're
yes, yeah, exactly.
and whatever age you are.
It's not, that's what I mean, is, a lot of issues I talk about, that we talk about the stereotype, actually they're very universal. They're very universal.
This is, again, it is universal. If you're
Right.
born on this planet and you're one of, what are we, 8 billion people now,
Yeah.
we actually got a hell of a lot in common with each other than the differences.
It should bring us together.
Out.
It should bring us
If
together.
you
more than
make as
anything.
much effort trying to point out what we're different, you're going to see you have a far tougher job than if you actually see how much we have got in common.
That's right. That's right. A lot of what you said, like, really resonates. But you say you went into the creative side, but you're actually a businesswoman as well. A very, 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 very successful.
I am and I'm not. I have a commercial side. I'm not a businesswoman in that I couldn't be the CEO of anything.
Whoa.
No, I can't.
Okay.
There's a different skill there.
Okay.
I'm the head of I was not the CEO of Ruby Millie when it was there. We partnered up with Boots, so they had lots of resources that they gave. But the MD of that partnership, Millie, ran it day to day.
So this is really interesting.
And I'm creative. I was always
Okay.
creative director because I was going on shoots, I was doing magazines, I would be used for that. That's not my skill. So don't call me a businesswoman that way.
Well,
I couldn't go and run a job and say, can I have a job as a CEO of something?
No, but
I wouldn't know the
this is what's
agency of that.
interesting, and I was going to talk to you about this because I think there's a whole trend, TikTok trend, and lots of trends about how to be an entrepreneur, how to make your own money and stuff like that.
I am definitely an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That does not mean I'm commercially
No.
minded, but I'm not a business person in the way of I can run a business day
Right,
to day.
and so this is because this is really interesting because it's about some of the challenges you faced, and also when people have this view on business, they think they need to do it all. But I think the more people I talk to, and the more business conversations I have, actually that is very far from it. You may own a business, but you have to get the right people with the right skills in place.
Totally.
So I'm
not an
really
accountant.
glad you said that.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant.
No.
I don't look at spreadsheets in that way. That's not my
No.
skill. But I grasp an overall picture and whether something is going to be sustainable, whether it's going to be economically viable, is it not? And from my perspective of my brand or how it was at Ruby Millie, I've got this.
Yeah.
But I don't need to do all the little bits that I'm not skilled to do.
Yeah.
But come and, can you step in my shoes either?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I'm unique. I'm creatively, whether it was at Ruby Millie or whether it's my brand here, there's certain things no one can. And I am entrepreneurial, but I'm also I'm a founder, I'm a brand, I've worked front of house, back of house. When you take money from someone, don't be so naive that you think you're going to have to give it back. And it doesn't need a degree to learn that. I've got a degree in economics, thank you, but it doesn't take a degree to learn. What is this? Are they giving it to you as charity? Because even your parents give you money at some, they'll expect it back.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should give it back.
I see what you mean.
So it's not that. So have a bigger, and I've always had that whatever I do, I've never lost money for anybody,
Yeah.
whatever capacity that was. And I do this because I know this well, but for people to know, you don't need to do it all. Like I might come to the next stage in my journey now with Ruby Hammer as a brand, that I might need next stage of a bit of investment or whatever. But I've been in this industry nearly 40 years and as a makeup artist. So I'm a team player.
Right.
The shoot didn't happen, whatever the ad or the magazine shoot or the fashion show, just by me being me. I had to work with hairdressers, the clients, the designer, for this, the photographer, the model, the assistants, eat a good lunch. Somebody catered for me, didn't they? All of that. So I'm a team player. So there are a lot of founders, and I don't mean this in a nasty way, but they feel that they can be the CEO. Only they can do this. And I'm like, no, you can hand over the reins to somebody, but know what it is you are good at. And I won't have some lousy CEO dilute my brand and what I've done for 40 years to get it up to a standard. If you can't do that, I'm not having that. Or at the end of it all, because was not a success financially, to say, oh, now you can't have your name anymore. Oh, I will fight tooth and nail for that. That is my name.
Yeah.
You, Tossy CEO, cannot come and put that in the mud.
Yeah.
But I need to listen to you because you have that skill to run this company and actually be better for my name and take this brand somewhere. If you take ownership of it and go with it, I can give you that respect and should give you the respect. And you are more equipped to do that than I am. So that's why I don't have that ego, because I'm a team player and have been for many, many, many years.
So I've come to you and gone, Ruby, I want to set up a beauty skincare company. And I have a vision that it needs to be, it needs to be inclusive and it needs to be value for money. So even if the quality needs to be there. And it needs to cater not just for dark skins, but for lighter skins as well. What do I do?
And I'd say to you, well, that's what I've done my whole life. That's my track record, whether I've got a alcohol or not.
Yeah.
But two, you can't just be making more noise in the thing. There's got to be something else unique. Everything you've said, I admire those things. Yeah. What's so unique about what you're going to do?
Okay.
It starts with somewhere. Yeah. Somebody has to. You can't just go to me and ask me to do that. What? Are you asking me to put money into it? Are you asking me to give you ideas to set you up on it? There are lots of that kind of stuff out there. Some are seed, some are successful, some are not. So how are you going to be different in this marketplace to do that?
Okay.
Have you got any money yourself to start this up?
Right.
Are you going to go and try to raise money in front of people to do this? But the most important, do not underestimate how relentless and how much resilient you're going to need, and all aspects of you are going to be involved in that. So you need to just not be a Me Too brand. And
I understand exactly what you mean. Yes.
So you're going to have to come up with something that hits all those boxes. Yeah. But how are you going to do that? Have you got some resources yourself? Are you going to get that from somewhere else? What aspect? It usually starts with one product or not. Is it a whole line? You start somewhere. Yeah. So I knew I started off with my Petit brush. Yeah. And then I just had 12 items in my range when I was going to do Ruby Hammer. Ruby Millie had over 360 or 80 SKUs. I only started here with 12 because that's all I wanted. That's all I could afford, being self-funded. And I thought, I'm a jobbing artist. There's some fantastic brands out there now. Like when I launched was 2019. But before that, when I looked at the marketplace and I could see, like Fenty had come, and it was like a benchmark that if you didn't have foundation, that didn't have 45 shades, 50, well, you can't really call yourself a global brand. No. But I knew I ain't got money for 50 foundation. No, I might as well call it a day now. Even now, I haven't got the funds. If I was going to do a skin, yes, I will if I raise the funds. Okay. But to do that, I'm 62. Do I really want to know that I might end up on the streets and without a home? Because somebody will want their money back. Because it takes a lot of money to be able to do that, to do it well. Yeah. And I have a certain standard. My whole working life, I've had a certain standard. I'm not just going to do any old rubbish. I'm out there. But also, I think in terms of the planet as it is now, with sustainability, with recycling, with whatever, how much more unique is my thing going to be other than it bears my name?
Good question. Very good question.
And I'm not that full of myself to think, how am I going to get Rihanna or whoever else is out there with a brand that I admire in terms of foundation and skin, that my one is going to come and just knock them off. If I haven't got the confidence to do that and the know-how to do that, aren't I just creating something and just thinking, oh, let's just do some concealers, let's just do, oh yeah, it ticks the box because it's for Asian skin and it's for everybody, and it's this and it's that.
Yeah, and you're right.
And it bears my name, and it's Ruby Hammer and I'm a makeup artist. And then what? If I can't finally find something that is that unique, Am I not just pandering to my own ego? Some people think that that's enough. That's not enough.
And who would you bring in? So say you have your product stuff. Who would you ring? Who would you go, right, this is what I'm going to do?
No, first I have to raise the money.
So you would first
You'd have to
say
raise
to
the money.
people, raise the money
I
yourself.
have to raise the money.
Whether
If
it's...
you haven't got any money in this world to do what you need to do,
Yeah.
who are you going to show what? You have to have a sample. You have to draw something. You have to have a business plan. You have to have something. Even if you're doing it for yourself, you have to have a business plan.
Yeah.
It's not who do I ring. I have to find. I know because of what I've already established many times over.
Right, so you've
I
already...
need to find the funds to know,
Right.
okay, I want to do do I want to get into now skin
Yeah.
cosmetics?
But to know what, to get the money, you need to know what you're going to do, right? That's what I'm saying.
If
So
you don't know what you're going to do, what are you waiting for somebody to tell you what is going to be unique about you?
No,
No one's
but
gonna do
this
that.
is what I mean. So who would you go to, like, in terms of, right, this is what I'm going to do. What do I need to find out? Do you know what I mean?
I'd have to raise the money, and then, like anything else, there are manufacturing plants.
Right.
I know them, so I'd need to know what are my benchmarks that I admire. What kind of textures do I like? Is it a liquid foundation? Is it going to be a mousse? Is it going to be a skin tint? Is it going to be only that, or is it going to be concealers as well?
Well, let's have a look at some of your products then. So which is your favourite one there?
You can't say that. Because it's like asking which is your favourite kit.
Okay, so
'Cause
which is your
everything-
go-to?
No, they're all there.
Okay.
Your face has eyes, cheeks, lips. So what, am I only going to do my eyes if I say that's my go-to?
No, that's right.
Am I
okay.
only going to do my cheeks because that's my go-to? Am I only going to do lips because that's my go-to? It isn't. So I have, in the domains, I have different things. I have lip serum balms, which are, there are
So they
6
could
shades.
make
I've only
a
got the
grab
one, which is
and then-
berry, which is in my handbag because that's
Yeah.
the one I
So is it this one here?
It's that one. But there are 6 shades in there. That's a berry colour, which is very nice for Asian skin. But you can see that's well
it's-
knackered because I use it a lot.
Does it scent?
No, it's got no smell.
Scent on it.
It's a hybrid. It's got skincare qualities with a hint of colour. So it comes in a nude, it comes in FX, FX gold, a pink and a red. So I started off with a signature red. This came after.
Yeah.
I did a red, nude and FX.
See, I love a red. I love
Beautiful
red.
I love a red, but I haven't got it here on me. Those 2 things are my magnetic brushes, and if you take it off,
Oh yes, I see.
twin heads, they kick in. There's 6 heads, and you do different things with
When
it.
you say 6 heads, what do you? Oh,
6 different heads like
Oh,
that.
like that,
you can
right,
kick
I
it in.
see.
I just made it into 2, but you can have, and then look, this one has for eyeliner. So this one has for shadow. So you can use it for liquid, powder, cream.
oh yeah.
That should be really if you want to do an eyeliner, but I use it for my concealer to just spot dot where I want, like magic. I just use that. So because I'm an artist, you don't tell an artist, you can only use it like that.
Yeah.
That's not how a makeup artist works. We'll use anything and everything to get the effect we want. Okay? So I want you to think of it like that. It's hygienic, it's travel friendly, in the desk, bridal.
Look at that.
Imagine in red as an Asian, Southeast Asian bridal party, you should have these that you put in the trousseau to give to your bridesmaids and your friends that make you ready, and for the bride to have it.
That is so. You can feel the magnet.
You know, so look, you can feel the pull.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know that. Okay, although it's the same brush, that can go in there.
Oh, you put them together. Sorry,
that's what I mean.
didn't realise.
It comes
Okay.
in packs of 3.
Yeah.
Magnetic brush number 1 has 3 heads, and magnetic brush number 2 has 3 heads. That means there's 6 heads, but they're interchangeable.
That's
So when I do
Very
that,
cool,
that's
Ruby.
my skin one. That for
yeah.
tapping little ones, and this to do bigger area, but I've just washed it so it's clean. Then when I'm out and about, I always like to brush my brows and a lip. So these are for me.
Amazing.
But how you carry yours is up to you. How you want to do it.
Also, can you imagine, like, people, like, carry their makeup and how much the room we take of our makeup as well?
Well, this is it. And then I've got cheek colours, which is a nod to how it was for Ruby Millie, the twist up clear plastic thing. So you do that and you twist like that. So I have it in red,
Yeah.
pink and a nude. And the red for me is the first one, is because every human being, irrespective of what colour they are, they could be lily white from Dublin, you know, with porcelain clear see-through skin, or you can be pitch black from the darkest part of wherever you're from. We all pump blood. What colour is your blood?
Right, okay. I see what
Muscle
you're
is
saying,
red, so a dot of it, yes.
I love
If you're
that.
very fair, you just need a tiny dot of it, blend out. If you're darker, you put a little bit more to have that impact. But red is a universal shade. It runs in all of us. It gives that glow, bit of radiance. If you overdo it when you're pitch black or you're lily white, it's going to look a bit disgusting, okay? But if you do it discerningly, no one of whatever age is it not going to give you that. It's not trying to be young.
No.
It's a youthful glow, flush.
I should say glow. Glow's good. Yeah.
It's a glow. It's a flush of colour. It's health. It's radiance.
What's that?
If you're a kid, it's because you're running around, you've got a rosy cheek. Doesn't matter what age, what nationality, what you are. Real rosy. If you are exerted yourself, you get that burst when you've exercised.
Yeah, I know what
That
you mean.
got to do with age.
Yeah.
If we are getting older, the skin does go a bit dull, you know, because all the metabolism, everything, the circulation, the collagen, all those. So for anybody, that red is the one people go, what should I get? I go that. And then I like the nude because it's the one with a bit of pearl in it, so it brings a bit of other dimension. And pink is nice because it's kind of quite fashionable. Then I'm going to work on some other, coral and a bit of a brownie colour. Next batch.
I do. I always, I've got to say, a lot of the time, especially when I'm going out and stuff, a red lip. I love a red lip.
You'd love my one because it's not a matte one, but it's got a bit of a glow. I haven't got it in my bag today.
Well, the amount of red lipsticks I've bought and they don't look red on me. You know, do you know what I mean?
No, it's because naturally your colour, your lips are darker anyway, and people don't realise that even whether you're darker or not, everyone's blood flow, because this is again the blood is pumping here. It's like the same as your thumb here. If you were going to try a lipstick, I wouldn't. And you can't test it on your lips straight away, put it here. That cushiony, less lined. That's the best area to put a lipstick to see how the colour. So everyone has an inherently natural shade in there, and that's probably what alters the pH level of what when you put a
because
red
I
on.
spend a lot of money.
It ends
on
up
red.
being more burgundy on you, doesn't it?
Burgundy, or it's too bright. Do you know what I mean? It does.
Because you've already got that darkness underneath.
Yeah. So I spend a lot of money thinking I'm going to get a red because, you know, even when I sort of like, I mean, as well, I used to put foundation a lot on my, but that's ridiculous because obviously you have different shades all around.
Yeah, it's
You know
not
what I
the
mean?
same shade all over.
Exactly, and that's what I have trouble with. And also I don't, because I'm quite dark on my face, but my chest is quite light.
I can see
Like
your
that.
arms are lighter, the bits of I can see. Well,
Yeah.
it's like that.
So-
It's how much you're displaying, whereas I'm quite uniform.
Yeah.
But I have pigmentation on my chin and bits coming from sun damage over the years of, you know, even
Being a
though I have
model on shoot
protected
and stuff like that.
being
Yeah.
on shoot from 4 a.m. to God knows until
Yeah.
you know, I'm not in the sun
Yeah.
getting to reapply things. I take good care of my skin, but it's all of that. And my latest bit is this. It's saying you've got a brow gel,
Yeah.
tiny little brush, and my pet peeve is when you do your brows and you run your fingers later and you can feel the crispy.
Oh yes, like the gel. It's like a gel that's just
This will set it and keep it in place, but it doesn't have that horrible real shell.
yeah.
And then this is my mascara. That's a tiny brush. And you've got, I can see you've got quite lush lashes and they're long and they curl. So I'm not making a claim that this, you put this on and you're going to get false eyelashes effect.
I see what you mean.
There are other brands out there. If that's what you want, you go and buy those. But when you want one where you're a busy mum, you're going to the gym, you just have to quickly put and
just want to feed a little bit,
look,
but yeah.
and look definition. And don't forget, I'm a professional makeup artist. If it doesn't work for me professionally for a shoot with all the lights and with everything,
You're not going to be selling it. No, absolutely. So you've
bear
got,
my name, let
you've got
alone
integrity.
It's
Yeah.
got to function for me, not just as a woman. So this will function for any woman, but as a pro, it will work as well.
So would you put the gel on first?
The gel is for the brows.
Yeah, so you put the gel on first and you'd leave it to set. Would you sort of
Yeah,
it'll
no,
dry?
whatever. Or you do it at the end of, if you're going to use powders and you're going to do a pencil and you're
Right,
going to
I
do that,
see,
then
yeah,
you set it with that.
Right, I see. Very clever.
Or you do it on its own.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, like I don't know how to show you, but if I did my own, you'd see. If I haven't got it on today because I had to rush here, but I could show you, and then it was set, and then the mascara is what
So I'm going to have to get you to do my makeup.
Yeah,
And we'll
well,
have to,
okay.
yes.
So whatever it is, it's very small, adaptive thing, because I'm proud of this line. But if I had launched this in America, I'd be laughing now.
Really?
Yeah. Because this country, as much as I love it, people do know me because I've been on telly, I've been on that. In the industry, they do know me.
Yes.
I'm not being, I don't think I'm being fake.
No, you worked very hard to be ready.
No, I've been around, I've a good track record, you know. But he's still tough. But the life is tough for everybody, not just me. I'm not being
particularly
worried,
this sort of time at the moment.
and it just is. Then we've had the pandemic that's affected everybody, and then we, as being Britain, coming out of the European Union, has had a double impact.
Yeah.
But if I did this in America, I went for the British Beauty Council, which I'm an ambassador for, and I think it was called Beauty Matters. They're an American company it was a collaborative presentation for how brands, if British brands wanted to hit North America. So it's not just USA. People think of North America and they think it's US. It's not. It's also the Canadian market and some bit of going towards Mexico, you know, like, because they're these emerging big markets. The things and the money you need to hit over there, I won't be able to, I don't know, I have to consider, have I got the funds to do that? But doing what I did with a very small team and the name and my background and whatever I've managed to achieve, if I'd managed to do this in America, I'd be laughing. And I wouldn't have needed to be a Kim Kardashian to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I have very good friends in, like, Bobbi Brown, who has
She's amazing.
sold to Estee Lauder and then now has her fantastic brand called Jones Red. I don't have her resources in that way, and I'm not her. She's unique and she's amazing and she's to be admired. So I'm not her. But if I even did it on a small scale of whatever I'm doing here, if we transported that there, you would have more success in that way. But I'm not about to just leave everything and go and set myself up there just for a bit more.
Yeah, it depends on your life and what you're doing.
It's my
You
life.
have a
My
grandchild. Yeah.
grandson is here. My husband is here. I don't have
This is your
parents
home.
anymore. I have my
Yeah.
2 brothers here. I'm based here. This is where I've built my home. This is my base. So, yes, the brand would be more successful. But how do you describe success? What is success to you?
Yes,
Is
that
it
was
just
a funny
financial?
question,
Is it this?
yeah.
Is it that? Is it the quality of life? What is it? You know, I've even got a relationship with the 2 gravestone yards and Kensal Green cemetery of my parents that I wouldn't be able to, you know, so at this age, I know what it would mean, and it doesn't mean I haven't got the gumption. I have a lot of drive, I have a lot of that, but I also know what it takes.
Yeah.
And all the people that are doing it now, they're a couple of decades younger. I
Yeah.
am 62. I have done it, and I've earned my right to just earn a bit of peace.
And that was going to be my next question. My last question to you is, what is the future? What does the next 5-10 years look like for you in terms of your brand and in terms of you personally?
It's good that you distinguish between for the brand and for me. For me, I lost my mum when she was 67, when she was diagnosed with cancer, and she survived a year, although they only gave her 2 weeks. So
Wow.
I would like to be, God willing, healthy
Healthy's good.
and be around to see my grandson grow, and just, I want to live. I'm very grateful for the life God has given me, and I don't take it for granted.
And you want to enjoy it.
I want to enjoy it. So that's part. For my brand, I have ambitions. I'd love it to grow a bit more. I'd love to extend it a bit more. I'd love to have a bit more, maybe get an investor in here to push it to the level that I'm not able to do it just now. You know, keep me as a creative force, and I know everything about this brand, but boost up my little team. So yes, we've got lots of plans like that. But at the end of the day, I am very blessed and I'm very grateful because I have a wonderful husband, and a wonderful daughter, son-in-law, my grandson that I absolutely adore, my 2 brothers, they're my immediate family. But I have a lot of really good colleagues and friends, industry ones, professional ones, personal friends. And we're on this planet, so I just want to leave it a little bit better.
Priceless, isn't it, people?
Yeah.
Relationships
And
are priceless.
And also, I've been given a platform that I probably silently carved out for myself. So you need to give back to the next generation. First, as a woman. 2, to Asians. 3, for our industry, what we've done, because people help me out, and I'd like to have that, and leave something, pathway for somebody to know. And I see that a lot more now, Sharon. I didn't used to see it when I was young and doing it. Nobody came to me then and say, "Oh my God, it was so good to see you as a face of Asian woman." And I get that now that I haven't had the brand for so long. And, you know, we were very brave to have left it. We walked away. It was a commercial.
The Ruby and Millie.
Yeah, it was a success. We left for other reasons. And at the end of the day, the affection and the regard that it's still
talked about,
means we did the right thing. And in a way, that is also a pathway, isn't it? Created it for something to say you've got to leave that for somebody. I do believe, I call it passing on the baton.
Yeah.
And the passing on the baton is not just once. You've got to do it again and again and again and show it. So if you look at me, you'll see I don't have to shout, "Oh, I'm inclusive." I've done it where it mattered.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now.
And it made an impact.
Like I say, I was born in Africa. What was I surrounded by? Black faces. We were brown. I've come to the UK when I'm 12 years old. What was that? That's surrounded predominantly by white people. But I do feel this country is very, very integrated in a nice way, and they give you the opportunities. That doesn't mean it's not unfair, that you're not going to face some sort of sexism, racism, right? You're going to face it because that's life. You face that in your little village in India. It's in our DNA, that rubbish. But you need to pass on that baton. And I do it the best I can so that somebody genuinely comes to my funeral, comes with a bit of respect and love for me and said, "You know what? She did better than... She did the best she can."
Yeah. Ruby, that's a great ending to the podcast. You're amazing. You really are amazing. And
Thank you for having me, Sharon. Thank you for having me.
You've been, you're inspirational, and the impact you've made for me and for others with inclusivity, and also just being brutally fucking honest.
I don't know any other way. I am transparent. I wouldn't, and that doesn't mean I don't put my foot in my mouth loads of times. I do.
We all do that. But the fact that you're so brutal here and going, "Don't call me a businesswoman. That's not me. That's not."
That is, people like to put me there, and I'm like, no. I cannot.
No, but people like to put themselves there as well.
I cannot even be the CEO of my company. I do it now because I've got no CEO in hand, so we do it. But I bet if I had and I don't exploit anybody either.
No.
So I can't afford a decent CEO, but if I could afford their wage, because it's all a trade-off now between, do I do that, if I could, say I got that next level of funding, and I would put on my list, I need a CEO to do that, so that person can utilise the hell out of me creatively for the brand, for this, for social media, for marketing, for whatever, masterclasses, but they run it, and he would do better. I hand it off. I've got nothing to go about that. But not if you run it down.
No.
I will boot you out. I'll have you booted.
I believe you.
Right? I'll have you booted because you can't ruin the name.
I
you
believe
can't
you.
let me at the end of whatever we try to do, and business has no guarantees. Being an entrepreneur is risk-taking, okay? And I am that. I've done it my whole life. My father did it.
Yeah.
I have that. We're not fearful of it. I heard a wonderful story today, and it was saying that and it's a Hindu allegory, and it was Lord Krishna and Balramji, his elder brother, were in the forest somewhere, and then they decided between them that you're going to sleep for 6 hours, whichever one they decide, and then the other one stands guard, and then 6 hours later, the other one can rest, and then the other one can stay guard. So Krishna went to sleep first. Lord Krishna Ji went to sleep first, and Balramji was standing waiting, and this Rakshas demon came, and he was like a, oh, and Balram got scared. Oh, what do you want? What do you want? And he, and he kept running away from it, and this thing was a flame. This demon came with a bit of fire, like a form of fire, and the more Balramji was panicking and asking and running away and taking a step back, going. Eventually, this Rakshas became huge, ball of fire, and like, oh, rah, 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 rah. And then he was going to consume him, and then he shouted out, Krishna, 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 and then Sri Krishna came running, but he went towards this ball of fire. What do you want? Take a step forward, take a step forward, take a step forward. What do you want? Why are you doing this? Why are you scaring us? Blah, 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 blah. And every step he took was towards this demon until it became just a flame in his hands, in the palm of his hands. So it is an allegory, but it shows you that if you face your demons on, that anxiety, that panic, that thing, eventually you can control it and it will become what you can manage, to where you don't face it and you run away from it and you keep running and you keep running until the bloody thing becomes a huge monstrous beast that overwhelms you and you can't cope.
Love that.
And defeated you.
I love that. So take risks.
Take risks. And there's no one on this planet that doesn't face difficulties.
Yeah.
They are lessons for learning, but you confront them and you will get a solution.